welcome to another video in the annals of restoration biker. What I thought I'd do today, slightly different, because I'm waiting for some stuff to come, so I'm bloody bored. I thought what I'd do, I'd tell you a little story, and that story is first bike. What's your first bike? What can you remember about your first bike? Well, my first bike was a bloody long time ago now. It was a 1961 250cc aerial Arrow. Yeah, remember them? Yeah, well, I was 16, because in those days you could ride a 250 at 16. Seems pathetic now, doesn't it? But yeah, you could ride a 250 at 16. So when I was 16, I had quite an expensive racing push bike with Disraeli gears. I mean, you know, they were rare then. Now everybody's got Disraeli gears on, but then that was quite rare. And I had this bike. I didn't have the slightest interest in getting a motorbike. I used to ride to work on my push bike. Good for your health, sort of like kept me fit and all that, you know, because you were pumping like Billy O to get along the road at the highest speed you could. And then one day I was coming home, and there was this horrible knocking, grinding noise from the back wheel seized solid. I skidded, nearly fell off the bloody thing. What had happened is the Disraeli gears had chewed themselves up and gone into some unbelievable mess, which I could probably fix now, but I recognised that I couldn't fix that, so I couldn't ride the bike. I had to carry the bike home because the back wheel wouldn't even turn. When I got home, I was really pissed off because I realised, and it's funny how your mind works when you're young, right? I realised when I got home, shit, my bike's just broke. That means only one thing. I'm 16. That means I'm gonna have to get a fucking motorbike. Oh my god. The last thing, I didn't want a fucking motorbike, but I knew it's what 16-year-old kids did, so I thought, I suppose I better do what every other 16er does. Had to get a motorbike, I don't know. So anyway, I went to work and I asked all the lads at work, anybody know anybody that's selling a motorbike? And there was this one lad, he was called Ginger. I don't know why he was called Ginger. It might have been, I don't think it was, but it might have been because he had a ginger beard and ginger hair. But surely they wouldn't have called him Ginger just because he was ginger. That's offensive, innit? Well, guess what? They fucking did. Anyway, Ginger was a nice bloke, I quite liked him. He went, yeah, I've got a bike, mate. It's a 250cc aerial Arrow. It's got a bent swinging arm. What the fucking hell's a swinging arm? I don't know. And if it's bent, how do you fix it? I didn't have a clue. How much do you want for it, Ginger? Said a 16-year-old Bert. Me. 20 quid a bike, mate. 20 quid. 20 quid? That's a month's wages. I was only on £5 a week. A month's wages for a bike that don't even work. So straight away, naturally, straight away, without even thinking about it, I said, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll have that, yeah. Went round his house with my uncle. My uncle had a coal lorry. My uncle threw the bloody bike on the back of his coal lorry, so it's laying on its side, tied it down with some bit of string, and took me home. When I got there, he unloaded it. My stepdad weren't very happy. Why? Well, because he'd already arranged with his brother for me to have an LE Velo that they had sitting in their shed, which had been there for years, and he recognised that I needed a motorbike, and he could see an excellent way of getting rid of this LE Velo. Well, those LE Velos, I don't know if you know about them, they were a horizontally opposed twin. I think it was about 185cc, but they were silent. The police used them. They were called noddy bikes. Absolutely silent. Water cooled, which in those days was unusual, and yeah, he had one of those lined up for me. Of course, because I'd bought this 250cc aerial Arrow, he went, what a load of crap, fancy buying that. You know, at 16 you know absolutely nothing about anything, so you know I was a bit like put out. I didn't really know what to do. Anyway, Didn't have the internet. If you wanted to know anything about anything, you had to go to the library and get the bloody book on it. Of course, you go to the library, where I lived, got any books on motorbikes? No, what are they? So, really, I had to sort of like ask people and try and sort of like get people to tell me what a swinging arm was, where it was, how do you know if it's bent, how do you fix it then? Anyway, I had this unbelievable bit of luck. And it's the sort of thing that happens every now and then. And when it happens, you think, bloody, was that made to be? I saw advertised in the local shop a little tiny piece of paper in the window that said 250cc aerial leader, no engine, £5. Bloody hell. So I went round the bloke's house. Yep, there he was. He had an aerial leader with everything there, except didn't have a seat, didn't have a tank, didn't have an engine. But essentially, it had all the frame, swinging arm, forks, wheels, everything. Today, worth a bloody fortune. I paid a £5 for it, and I pushed it home. Looked at how the swinging arm was. Took the swinging arm out. Took the swinging arm out of mine. Put the swinging arm from this aerial leader into the Arrow frame, and cushy, I had a bike that was ready to go. I even got it running. I don't know how I did that in those days. Anyway, my stepdad says, don't want that bloody leader frame hanging around, dump that, get rid of that. So, at the top of our road, literally sort of about half a mile away at the top of the road, there was it was a big hole, which is where people used to drive their cars, all that, like off-roading sort of. People used to go out there, young kids used to go out there and ride motorbikes and push bikes and all that. So I went up there with this leader frame, lifted the thing at the back because it didn't have a back wheel or a swinging arm, and I slung the thing down the bloody hole. Get rid of it. Well, I didn't care, did I? I wanted rid of it. Little did I know, I would be going back there in only a few weeks' time. Anyway, now the bike is operational, what I've got to do now is get it to an MOT station and MOT it. I didn't know anything about that. My stepdad said, I'll teach you how to ride. He taught me how to move off, telling me how to slip the clutch, and I must have stalled 100 times. What a complete dick. I obviously didn't listen to a single word that he was telling me. But eventually I did actually manage to move off without it stalling, and by unbelievable, I don't know how this happened. I just do not know how this happened. My stepdad said, I'll come on the back and I'll tell you what to do whilst you're riding to the MOT station. And he was on the back of the bike, no helmet, because didn't have to have helmets in those days. I think I had a helmet because my mum said I had to have a helmet or I weren't going on the bloody bike. But he sat on the back and was shouting in my ear hole, pull the clutch in, push the gear lever, let it out, do the... Mate, there's no way on this planet that I would sit on the back of a 16-year-old and tell him what to do. No way. We went about, I think it was about 6 or 7 miles to the MOT station, and we got to the MOT station, and the bloke said, you'll have to leave it here, mate, because, there's a few things need doing on it. So we did. Left it there, got the bus home. I went back about a week later. It was MOT'd. Bloody hell. It's MOT'd. My mate took me on the back of his Francis Barnett 197. Yeah. And then I thought I'd ride home with my mate. So I got on the aerial, got it started, didn't do my jacket up, my barber jacket, which now are really expensive, but in those days that was all you could get, and I bought it brand new from my mum's catalogue. Barber jacket, wide open, and I thought I'll just move over to the other side of the road and wait for my mate to get his bike ready. Anyway, I let the clutch out a little bit, it started to bite, yep. The bike started to move, and I flew up the high street, totally, and I mean totally out of control. I didn't know what the bloody hell I was doing. Thank God nobody walked out in front of me, or a bus didn't stop or something, because I would have hit it. I was just totally out of control, being pulled up the high street. Wasn't going fast, but fast enough for somebody that don't know how to do it. And I rode probably about a mile before I had the presence of mind to pull the clutch in and use the brakes to stop. Bloody hell. I mean, when you think today you can't get on a bike unless you've done a CBT and you've had loads of training and all that, and even then you're not ready. But in my day, bloody hell, mate, it was unbelievable. Anyway, so I had my bike MOT, taxed it, all that. I had to go to the post office to tax it, and it was all legal, MOT'd, insured, taxed, and I had a licence, albeit provisional licence, of course, naturally. So my mate said, let's go out on whatever night it was, Friday night. There's a band playing over at the local town. Let's go and see them. So I did. The band that was playing was a band called Hawkwind. Nobody knew who they were. I mean, I bet everybody does now who's my age. Hawkwind became quite a big group afterwards in the sort of right circles. But I went to see Hawkwind live on my bike. When I was going there, because it was night time, when I was going there, there was suddenly a huge surge, electrical surge, and my headlight blew. So now I've only got side lights. But what do you do? I just get going. I didn't know what to do. Got to Hawkwind, watched Hawkwind, saw the event. Yep, great. Yep. Then we come to ride home. Well, my mate, like a dick, I mean, you wouldn't do it today, would you? Like a dick, he let me go in front. Why didn't he go in front? Because he's got lights, and me with my side light only behind him. No, let me go in front. So I had the side lights on, so obviously anybody else couldn't really see me. I was just, almost invisible. Well, I'm driving along down this country lane. There's a crossroads in front. And I remember, as I approached the crossroads, I saw the shape of a car pull out from the right. Oh my God, what do I do now? Well, it's obvious what you do. When you're 16 and you've been on the road for 4 days, it's obvious what you do. You pull the clutch in, shut your eyes, and brake. Well, that's, as we all know, that's what you don't do, but that's what I did. And then I heard this massive bang, and I got thrown into the air, and as I landed on the bonnet of this Ford Anglia, I opened my eyes, and by unbelievable coincidence, I was looking straight into the rear view mirror, the wing mirror, which is where they were in the old days, on this car, and I saw my face. Oh, and for half a second I thought I died. Then I slid off the other side of the bonnet into the road, and a bloody lorry braked like Billio and just missed running me over, and the driver was shouting at me to get out of the bloody way. So I crawled myself off of the pavement, off of the tarmac, off of the road. I crawled up off of the road, and I looked at my bike that was smashed, and I was really angry. So I had a few words with the guy in the Anglia, which most of the words were profanities, most of them. I think one or two and the were not profanities, but I told him that I was slightly displeased in the fact that he'd pulled out in front of me. But to be perfectly honest, you couldn't blame him because I didn't have any lights on. But anyway, he was really apologetic. I'm really sorry, mate. I'm really sorry. And there was a police officer who suddenly appeared. That's amazing, isn't it? They always appear. They always appear. They always appear when you either A, don't want them, or B, do want them. And no, I did want him, and he helped out and he arranged everything. The bike was picked up by a local garage, etc., and I went home. I can't even remember how I got home. I think my stepdad come and got me. And I'd been motorcycling for 4 days. 4 days, and there, lying in the middle of the road, was this aerial arrow with the front wheel bent right back, front forks completely bent, totally unusable. So after a few days, or a few weeks probably, the insurance company decided to pay me out. The bike was a write-off, and they paid me out 30 quid. 30 quid, 30 big ones. That's 6 weeks' wages. And I got the bike back. So I had the bike back with a bent front forks and all that, and a damaged frame, and you know, it's a write-off, isn't it? What it needs really is a frame and front forks. Well, if you remember, I had a frame and front forks from an aerial leader, which I'd only paid a £5 for to get the swinging arm, and it was up the end of our road in a hole where I'd thrown it to get rid of it. So after the dust settled, I went up there. There it is. It's still laying down this hole. I struggled like Billy-O to pull it out of the hole, struggled even more to get the bloody thing home, and I rebuilt the bike, put it back on the road, and I used that bike and passed my test on it for another, what was it, about 8 months. So yeah, that was my first bike, a 250cc aerial arrow, which I rebuilt with another frame eventually. That's what got me into the motor trade, because I liked building stuff, even though I weren't very good at it. You know, I like rebuilding stuff. I found it interesting, and so yeah, there I went and Kushti, and then yeah, what I'm going to tell you about next time is how I passed my test, or what happened when I went for my test, and how I thought the test would go, and how I'd naturally get through it, wouldn't I? My test was amazing, and that's the next story, is my test. I hope you enjoyed that, and you know, I'll think of some more stories in the next sort of few days, few weeks, or whatever, and post them on here. If there's anything you'd like to know about, or if there's anything that you want to tell me about your experiences or whatever, let me know, and we can have a laugh. Take care. See you soon. Bye.